So I am here and I've arrived in Monterey Park today to express our deepest condolences and sorrow for the violent and tragic and useless thing that happened here. On behalf of the President and Dr. Biden, Doug, and myself, we express what I know our nation feels in terms of mourning the loss of those who died and were killed here, and of course pray for the recovery of those that were injured. You know, we've already had in our country this year already, we're in January, it's estimated over 40 mass killings already. And tragically, we keep saying the same thing. I have had the unfortunate experience of visiting many of these sites, and sometimes within days of a massacre like this. We will always, as a compassionate nation, mourn for the loss and pray for those who survive and are recovering. But we must also require that leaders in our nation who have the ability and the power and the responsibility to do something, that they act. California has been courageous as a leader on the issue of smart gun safety laws, but we also need Congress to act, because truly if we are to have a uniform approach that is a statement of where we as a nation, I think, where we are on these issues, then Congress must act so that we can get at least one step closer to what is right and what is reasonable, understanding that to do so is to fully support the Second Amendment, but to understand we need reasonable gun safety laws in our country. So I'm here again to express the sentiments of the President, First Lady, and the Second Gentleman in our country. I will be meeting with some of the families. I've met with the sheriff and the county supervisor and the mayor, and I will meet with some of the first responders. But again, to all of those who are here covering this tragedy, continue to also cover the importance of requiring elected officials and leaders to have courage to do the right thing when it comes to just what is reasonable and right. Thank you all.
Can this Congress do anything?
They absolutely can.
Think they can accomplish?
They have the power to. Can they do something? Yes. Should they do something? Yes. Will they do something? That is where we all must speak up and speak to our elected representatives about what we have a right to expect that they will do in the interest of the safety, the security, and the well-being of people like those whose lives were ended here and people around our country. They can, yes. Okay, Paul.
You were just listening in there, Vice President Kamala Harris speaking as she paid her respects. And we want to go right back out to what happened just a little bit ago as Kamala Harris there on the scene in Monterey Park, California, paying the respects after this tragic shooting taking place over the weekend at that dance hall. People celebrating the Lunar New Year, having fun with family and friends in the Los Angeles area. Certainly a very emotional day as you see her with flowers. They're paying her respects to those 11 victims of this. And she also said she was going to speak with the families of some of these victims, and also likely Brandon Say, the one of the heroes of this event in Monterey Park, as he disarmed. He wrestled the gun away from the gunman at the second dance hall. So certainly some very emotional moments here that we were watching on Live Now from Fox. Kamala Harris on the scene there, and she said talking about Congress. Someone asked her about Congress and what they can do, and she said, yes, they absolutely can do something, meaning legislation in terms of guns, in terms of what was dubbed an assault pistol on the Saturday and Sunday of this event. So certainly a very, very emotional, tragic. You heard also from our Fox 11 team, this is the third straight night of vigils that were being held there in Monterey Park in Southern California. Those 11 people lost their lives so tragically that night. Of course, tragedy hitting the entire coast of California. The Asian community certainly reeling. We want to take you out to an interview my colleague Shirley Discorpleth did with an executive director of the Asian Pacific Community Fund and how the Asian community is coping with this after certainly the aftermath of these mass shootings and how they are coping. Let's listen in to this conversation.
Well, people in the state of California are grieving two mass shootings that happened back to back. The first in Monterey Park that has a very large Asian community, and then the second that happened in Half Moon Bay that also has an Asian community presence, and many of the victims in that one also of the Asian community. Well, we want to talk about how the community is coping with these tragedies and what supports and resources are being offered to the families' victims. Joining us right now is Chun Yen Chen. She is the executive director of the Asian Pacific Community Fund. Ms. Chen, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. First, I just want to ask you, how are you doing and what have the past few days been like for you?
It has been very difficult because we learned the news. I personally learned the news on the New Year day, waking up, getting the call from my son who was in the East Coast, knowing that we love Born Dance ourselves and how's our family. Were we there? Are we safe? So that's how I ended up learning the news. In the past few days, we have really reach out to the family, try to support them, not only attending the vigil, but the most importantly, try to find a way to bring the resource to them, especially in the language and the culturally appropriate way, because this is a tragedy. Nobody expected this would have happened at such joyful dance studio.
And Ms. Chen, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us, tell us in general, how are people of the Asian community feeling right now? I'm sure it has been a very difficult time.
Very shocking because, first of all, this is the time of a Lunar New Year Eve where the Asian American get together, celebrate, and unite with family, celebrate the Year of a Rabbit. Secondly, is that this is the senior adult gathering party who go there as a dance lesson student, and then they go there for party with a family and friend. They wouldn't have thought this will be their last dance of their life. So even we are trying to understand why. And unfortunately, because the shooter already dead. So right now we are putting the puzzle together, but the most importantly, we need to take care of the survivor and the victim. So we are have so many questions not answered, but the most importantly, we want to provide the support and resource.
And really, it is a lot to fathom if we just put things into perspective here. Let's just think about the last couple of years during the pandemic, and there was an increasing amount of hate crimes and violence towards the Asian community. Just share some of your thoughts regarding that, and then obviously these two recent tragedies here.
Yes, during the pandemic time, I think all the Asian Americans are on the edge, because right after that anti-Asian hate incident happening across the United States, all of us as Asian American we often get asked, where are you from? My answer was, I'm from New York, but they say, where are you really from? Oh, they are asking where I was born. So those kind of questions, those kind of special stare, looking, and different kind of question because the skin of our color or because our accent, this past 3 years, I would say, since 2020 has been very difficult for the Asian American. And as we coming out kind of end of a pandemic, we hopefully and coming out to finally celebrate Lunar New Year, now we have this mass shooting and back to back in a week. It's very difficult for all of us. And I really think as a Asian American myself and I have a children, I worry what's the future of our community is going to become if we don't come together supporting each other. We need to be stronger and better together. So this past 3 years, I have to say, this is not the way we vision how we celebrate the first day of a Lunar New Year, Year of Rabbit.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about how the organization you lead is helping people out, the Asian Pacific Community Fund. What exactly does the organization do? And let's talk about the fundraiser as well.
Yes. So Asian Pacific Community Fund is one of the only community fund in Southern California focused on Asian Pacific Islander community. We work together with the Philanthropy Foundation to really support our API community and nonprofit in the past 32 years. Particularly for today, we are talking about this victim fund. Right after the incident happened, I got a call from many supporters who want to see how we can support our community. Right away, I reached out to all the 7 nonprofits who list on the team leader for our GoFundMe page, the Monterey Park Lunar New Year Victim Fund. We launched the page on Sunday within less than 12 hours after we know the news. And then today, up to today, if you check on the page, we have reached over $600,000 at the list. And this fund is going to be 100% giving to the victim and the individual who are injured during this mass shooting. And all the nonprofit working together, providing the resource. And under our GoFundMe page, you will find out that we even provide a Google link with all the Asian language, different kind of resource. And I know it's hard for a lot of people to access, but if you are able to access, please print it out, share with neighbors, share with the community. Even they may not be the victim themselves, but they may witness or they be impacted by reading the news. There's so many support, mental health is out there. It's a collaboration effort among all the API community who work together to support. And we also work closely with the city, county, state, and federal to get all the resources out, particularly for the victim assistance, how the victim compensation, and how to get the mental health resource, everything that our family, our community member may need. And ideally is that we want to be here for you, for everybody who need it. And APCA with all the API nonprofit together, we want to unite it to support our community.
Yes, and I'm sure that those impacted will be very grateful for all the help they will be receiving. And, you know, it still is very early. Obviously, these tragedies just occurred just a couple of days ago, and I'm sure some people are still trying to process everything. But Ms. Chen, how do you think people in the Asian community can begin to move forward and eventually heal from what has happened?
I think every tragedy happen is it need an internal process time to talk about how that reflect to you, your family, and your community. Unfortunately, dance community is very tight and they're very close, and so it will take a longer time for everybody willing to talk about it. Right now, we are focused on helping in immediate help to the victim fund, but we know this is going to be a long way. But one thing I do want to say that I actually received the offer from many of the dance lovers. You know, they've been going to this dance studio. They were not at that party that night, but they want to see this dance studio live again. They already reached out to me, say, let's talk about how do we move on to next chapter when we are ready. I don't know the ready time will be a month, 3 months, or 4 months, or even longer. But the most importantly, we do have a hope because our community are resilient. We are stronger together. And many of us who love ballroom dance for the past 20-some years going to this dance studio, they don't want to see this is the end and the permanently close of the studio. Many of them share that with me when I met them in person. So I understand there's a desire to start a new chapter. But how do we go from here? We need a community to work together. I really believe that even just one hug, even a one condolence, one checking in, make sure everybody's okay, will make this healing faster. But most importantly, we need to take a time, allow people to take their own time to process what this loss means to them.
A strong, healing, and hopeful community. Ms. Chen, do you have any parting words here?
Life is too short. Hug your loved one whenever you can. We are only together because we love each other. We have to work together as a one community, one society. Doesn't matter our skin color, our language, our accent, or where we're coming from. I think if we care each other, just like care loved one, we can go through this together.
That is so true. Ms. Chen, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And we certainly send our condolences, our prayers, and thoughts to all those impacted in the Asian community.
Thank you.